last video, we are talking about the classical cryptography and talking about the Caesar cipher or rail-fence cipher and so many other algorithms about the using substitution and also transposition algorithm. But today we want to talk about the modern cryptography. Let's go and talk more about modern cryptography. So first of all, we want to have an introduction of the cryptography and tell about the definition of the cryptography and go ahead and talk more and more about the symmetric and asymmetric cryptography and tell about the real world application of them. So let's go and talk more about the definition of the cryptography in the next slide. So cryptography is the science and art of protecting information by transforming it into an unreadable format, allowing only authorized parties to understand it. The goal is to secure communication and data from unauthorized access or tampering. Let's talk how it's works. So cryptography uses mathematics and algorithms to secure data. For encryption at the sender parties, it transforms the readable data or plain text into an unreadable format. We call it ciphertext. For example, the plain text hello becomes KHOOR using the Caesar cipher. And for decryption, reverse the encryption process to recover the original data. It means that at the receiver, KHOOR is converted back to the hello. So why is important? Why cryptography is important? Because it could help us to protect sensitive information like passwords, financial transactions, or personal messages. And also, it could help us to have a secure online communication like emails and chats, and also it is essential for industries like finance, healthcare, and also e-commerce. And it could help us to prevent data breaches and cyber attacks. Okay, there are some key concepts in cryptography. The first one is the confidentiality. Confidentiality ensures that the information is accessible only to those who have the right to see it. For example, encrypting a message so only the intended recipient could read it. The next concept here is integrity. It could guarantees that the data has not been altered during the transmission. So for example, if we send a hash message, that change if we send the hash message here using the hash message for checking the integrity, if the data is modified, it change and not same as the produced hash. So it could help us to have the integrity. And next one is the authentication. It could verify the identity of the sender and receiver to ensure they are who they claim to be. For example, logging into a website using encrypted credential could help us for authentication. And also, another concept is non-repudiation. It means that it ensures that a sender cannot deny having sent a message. So a digital signature, as an example, tied to the sender private key to gain the non-repudiations. So modern cryptography evolved to address the weakness and limitation of the classical cryptography. It's a cornerstone of today's secure communication, ensuring that our digital interactions remain private, trustworthy, and resilient against threats. So the first thing is why classical cryptography isn't enough. The first one is susceptibility to attacks. So classical ciphers like Caesar cipher, Vinegar cipher also are vulnerable to basic attacks such as frequency analysis and also non-plain text attacks. But modern computing power can break these cipher in seconds. Another thing is scales of the data and communication. So classical cryptography wasn't designed for the vast amount of data and global communication network we have today. For example, securing billions of online transactions daily is not possible using the classical cryptography. Also, we have advanced threats and cyber threats like phishing, man-in-the-middle attacks or MITM, and also ransomware require a stronger, more dynamic cryptographic solution than the classic one. So we need here a robust security. So sensitive data like medical records, financial transactions, and personal communications need to be protected at all costs. And classical method cannot guarantee this level of security. So modern cryptography could help us to have based on the stronger algorithm in modern cryptography, it helps us to use advanced mathematical functions for encryption. For example, in Advanced Encryption Standard or AES, which is practically unbreakable with current technology. It means that current technology before the quantum computing came. And also asymmetric encryption introduced the concept of public and private keys, solving the problem of secure key exchange. So RSA and ECC or elliptic curve cryptography is some of the example of asymmetric encryption. Also, modern cryptography can handle complex systems like the internet, cloud computing, and blockchain, so it can improve the scalability of our algorithm. And also, in modern cryptography, we need to work because the quantum age is very near. So we need to focus on post-quantum cryptography to secure our data against future quantum computers. So as a real-world application here, for example, in securing the internet, we use HTTPS, SSL, or TLS for the safe browsing, and also we encrypting our data for online banking and e-commerce. Also, password hashing, biometric security, and digital certificate are some example of the authentications. And also in blockchain, we underpins the cryptocurrency and we centralize the systems using, we can call it as some application of the modern cryptography. So why is matter? Because every time you send an email, shop online, or use an app, modern cryptography is working behind the scenes to protect your data. Without it, your digital privacy and security would be at constant risk. Okay, let's talk more and tell you what is the symmetric cryptography. Symmetric cryptography, also we call it secret key encryption, is a method where the same key is used both to encrypt and decrypt the data in sender and also in receiver. So we think of it as a locked box, the same key locked it and also unlock it. How it's work? Let's talk about that. As you can see in the picture, we need to, as a sender, we need to encrypt data, and as a receiver, we need to decrypt the data. So the plain text or original messages is transferred into ciphertext as an unreadable format using a key. For example, we can encrypt in hello with a secret key result in an encrypted message, for example, XJPRQ. And then in decryption part as a receiver or Bob, the ciphertext is converted back to the plain text using the same key. So XJPRQ is decrypted back to the hello. So as a real world example, you can imagine that Alice and Bob, as you can see here. In the cryptography scheme, we use Alice and Bob as a sender and receiver. So Alice encrypts a message using shared secret key and send it to Bob, as you can see here. Bob used the same key to decrypt the message and understand it. If anyone intercepts the ciphertext, they cannot read it without the keys. So The features of symmetric cryptography, the first feature is that it is fast and efficient. So it is faster than asymmetric cryptography, making it ideal for encrypting large amounts of the data like files or databases. And also both parties must have the same key and keep it secure. If the key is exposed, the encryption is compromised. Let's talk about the common algorithm we use here. The first one and one of the well-known one is AES, or Advanced Encryption Standards. It is a widely used, highly secure encryption standard adopted globally. For example, it could protect sensitive data in financial transactions and also secure messaging apps. Also, another one, an older algorithm now replaced by AES due to security vulnerability, we call it DES, or Data Encryption Standards. The next one is Blowfish or Twofish, as a still a strong alternative still used in some applications. So we have some strength and weakness for the symmetric cryptography. The first strength is the speed, and the second one is simplicity. So symmetric cryptography is computationally efficient, and it is very easy to implement and widely supported. But there are some weaknesses here. The first problem here is a key distribution problem. So both parties need the same key, but sharing it securely can be challenging. And if the key is intercepted, the entire system is compromised. So another weakness is the scalability. In a system with multiple users, managing a separate key for every pair of users becomes complex. As a real-world application, in VPN or virtual private network, we can encrypt the data transmitted between the device and the internet using these methods. And also in this encryption and secure messaging like WhatsApp, for the fast encryption of the message, we use the symmetric one. Also in this encryption, we can protect sensitive file and computer using like BitLocker or some same application. So why is symmetric cryptography important? Because it forms the backbone of many secure systems today, offering fast, reliable, and also reliable encryption for safeguarding sensitive data. While it has limitations, it's still an essential tool in modern cryptography. Okay, let's talk about the asymmetric cryptography. Asymmetric cryptography, also known as a public key cryptography, uses two different keys, a public key and a private key. Unlike symmetric cryptography, the public and private keys are mathematically related but not identical. The public key is used to encrypt the data, and the private key is used to decrypt it. How it works? In the encryption, anyone can use the public key to encrypt a message. So for example, Alice wants to send Bob a secure message. See, she used Bob's public key to encrypt the message. Once encrypted, the message can only be decrypted by Bob's private key, which he keeps secrets. And in a decryption, only the private key can decrypt the data encrypted by the public key. So Bob could receive the encrypted message and uses his private key to decrypt it and read the original message. So, as a scenario, Alice wants to send Bob a confidential message. So Alice first encrypts the message using Bob's public key, and Bob is the only one who can decrypt it using his private key. So this ensures that even if someone intercepts the message, they cannot read it because they don't have Bob's private key. The key features here in asymmetric cryptography, the first one is using two keys instead of one key like symmetric key. So public and private key, the public key here can be freely distributed while the private key must remain secret. So this solves the key distribution problem seen in symmetric cryptography. Another feature of the asymmetric cryptography is digital signatures. So asymmetric cryptography can also be used for digital signatures. The sender can use their private key to sign a message proving their identity. The recipient can verify the signature using the sender pass key, ensuring the message has not been altered. So common algorithm here, the most well-known one is RSA or reverse Shamir-Adleman as one of the most widely used asymmetric encryption algorithm. It is used for secure data transmission and also digital signatures. So websites use RSA for establishing secure HTTPS connection. The next one is elliptic curve cryptography. So it is a more efficient alternative to the RSA, offering the same level of security with shorter key lengths. For example, mobile devices use ECC for secure communication. And also DSA or digital signature algorithm used for creating digital signatures, often seen in the context of software distribution and authentication. So a strength and weakness of the asymmetric cryptography we must talk about here. The first strength is the key distribution made easy. So the public key can be shared openly and the private key stays secure. It means that this makes it easier to establish secure communication without needing to share secret keys ahead of the time. Also, asymmetric cryptography enables the verification of the identities, making it crucial for secure email, software verification, and also e-commerce. And asymmetric cryptography or encryption is generally more secure than symmetric cryptography for certain use cases, especially for long-term security. But also, there are some weaknesses here. The first one, it is slower than symmetric cryptography. So it is because it is computationally heavier and slower, make it less ideal for encryption large amount of the data directly. And also the asymmetric cryptography is vulnerable to quantum attacks. It's look like symmetric encryption. Asymmetric cryptography faces potential future threats from quantum computers. South research in post-quantum cryptography is underway. So as a real-world application, in the HTTPS, we use the asymmetric cryptography for SSL or TLS. And also in image encryption and digital signature is another application of the asymmetric cryptography. So why it's important? Because asymmetric cryptography is essential for securing digital communication, e-commerce, and ensuring data integrity. It enables the trust necessary for the modern digital world, where secure communication are crucial for protecting privacy and preventing fraud. Here we want to talk about the hashing. First of all, let's define that what is the hashing. So hashing is the process of converting any data, for example, a file message or password, into a fixed length string of characters using a mathematical algorithm. The result is called hash value or message digest or checksum. Key property here, hashing is a one-way function, meaning that you cannot reverse the hash to retrieve the original data. How does hashing works? So for example, input any size of data, 1 kilobyte file or 1 gigabyte file. The hashing algorithm processes the data and outputs a fixed length hash value, for example 256 bits for SHA-256. So for example, the hash value for hello using SHA-256 is 2CF24DBA and until 256 bits. So even the slightest change in the input, the changing hello with the small h to the capital H, produce a completely different hash value. So key properties here, the first properties here is the deterministic. So the same input always produces the same hash value. The next one is the fixed length. The output hash is always the same size regardless of the input size. And also it is one week and unique. It means that it is practically impossible to reverse engineer the original data from the hash, and also different inputs should not produce the same hash value. Another property is the fast and speedy. So hashing is computationally efficient, make it suitable for large scale use case. So what is the data integrity here? Data integrity ensures that information remains unchanged, unaltered, and also accurate during transmission or storage. So hashing could play a vital role in verifying data integrity by detecting even the smallest change to the data. How hashing could ensure data integrity? The first step is generating a hash. So a hash value is calculated for the original data before transmission. After receiving or retrieving the data, the same hashing algorithm is applied to it. If the hash value matches the original, the data is intact. If it doesn't match, the data has been tampered with. So there are some real-world applications of using hashing in data integrity. For example, downloaded software often comes with a hash value using MD5 or SHA-256. After downloading, user calculate the hash of the file and compare it to the original to ensure no corruption or tampering. The next one used for message authentication. So email system use hashing to ensure messages have not been altered in transit. Also in private storage, hashing is used to securely store the password in database. Instead of storing the password my password 123, a hash like $2y $12 something is stored. So common hashing algorithm we use is MD5 as a message digest algorithm file to produce a 128-bit hash value. It's fast but no longer secure due to vulnerability to collision. The next second one is secure hash algorithm or SHA. We have SHA 1, 2, and 3, but the latest is SHA 3. So widely used one is SHA 256, produce a 256-bit hash. The latest one is Bcrypt and Argon 2. They are designed for the password hashing, offering the additional security against brute force attack. Okay, let's talk about the key exchange and secure communication. So, key exchange is the process of securely sharing cryptographic keys between two parties to enable encrypted communication. It ensures that both parties have the same key without exposing it to a potential attackers during the exchange. Why it's important? Because cryptographic systems rely on secure keys for encryption and decryption. If the keys are intercepted during transmission, the entire communication can be compromised. So let's talk about the key exchange in symmetric cryptography. In symmetric cryptography, both parties use the same key for encryption and decryption. So the main challenge here is securely sharing the secret key. For example, if Alice and Bob want to communicate securely, Alice needs to send the key to the Bob. If the key is intercepted, the communication is no longer secure. Okay, symmetric cryptography lacks a secure method to share key directly, making it vulnerable in open network. Solution using asymmetric cryptography for key exchange. So asymmetric cryptography or public key cryptography solve the key exchange problem by using two keys. A public key shared openly and private key kept secret. How it works? Alice and Bob each generate a pair of public and private key. Alice sends her public key to the Bob and Bob sends his public key to the Alice. So there is no problem here because both of them are public keys. Alice encrypts a shared symmetric keys using Bob's public key and send it to Bob, and Bob decrypts the symmetric key using his private key. Both now have the same symmetric key for fast and secure communication. Application of the key exchange in use in the secure sockets layers or transport layer security or SSL/TLS. It's used to establish secure connection for web browsing, emails, and online transaction. For example, HTTPS uses key exchange to secure communication between your browser and a website. Also in VPN and messaging app, we use um, key exchange. So key exchange protocol establish secure tunnels for the encrypted communication in VPN, and also end-to-end encryption in apps like WhatsApp and Signals use key exchange to ensure only the sender and recipient can read the message. There are some challenges here in key exchange. For example, the first one is MITM attacks or man-in-the-middle attacks. An attacker could intercept the key exchange and substitute their own keys. Solution: digital certificates and trusted third party verify the authenticity and of the public keys. Also, quantum threats. Quantum computer could potentially break key exchange algorithm like Diffie-Hellman and RSA. Solution is the development of the post-quantum cryptography algorithm or quantum resistance algorithm. Why it's critical for secure communication? Without a secure key way to exchange keys, encrypted communications become vulnerable to interceptions. So key exchange forms the foundation for modern protocols like HTTPS, securing everything from online banking to private message. At the end, let's talk about the applications of the modern cryptography. So modern cryptography played a vital role in securing the digital systems and communications in today's interconnected world. Its application span across industries, protecting sensitive data, ensuring privacy, and enable trust in digital interactions. For example, in secure communication, we use the email encryptions, tools like PGP or Pretty Good Privacy and S-MIME use cryptography to encrypt the emails, ensuring only intended recipient can read them. For example, a company encrypts the internal emails to protect sensitive business information. Also, in messaging app, end-to-end encryption ensures that the message remains private. For an example, WhatsApp, Signal, and also Telegram secret chat use protocol like Signal protocols to secure the chats. And also voice and video calls. Cryptographic protocols protect real-time communication. For example, apps like Zoom and Microsoft Teams secure call with encryptions to prevent eavesdropping. As we told it before, in HTTPS also used to encrypt the data transmitted between your browser and a website to ensure the privacy and security for online activities like banking and shopping. The next one is certificate authentication. So cryptographic certificates validate the authenticity of the websites, protecting users from phishing attacks. So for example, the green padlock in your browser, it is like it is an example of the certificate authentication. Another thing in financial transaction, cryptography secures online banking platforms, protecting account detail and transaction. For example, RSA and AES encryption protect login credential and money transfer. Also in digital wallet and payment, cryptographic algorithms secure digital payment platforms like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and PayPal. So, for example, tokenization encrypts cards detail during the transactions. Also, in ATM and POS or points of sale system, pins and transaction data are encrypted to prevent interception. Another application is used in file and disk encryption, cloud storage security, database security, and also password storage and biometric authentication. As another application of the modern cryptography, it's used in blockchain and cryptocurrencies, also in smart contract, digital signatures, and cybersecurity defense in IDS as an intrusion detection system and also ransom protection. Also, another application of the cryptography is in modern cryptography is used in the IoT or Internet of Things. So cryptography secures IoT devices like smart thermostats, cameras, and medical devices and transaction between them. Also, in government and military application, we need to secure communication, and for that we can use the encryption to secure classified information and communication. Another one is using cryptography in the satellite communication. So cryptography ensures secure transmission of data between satellite and ground station. At the end, we are talking about the healthcare and medical record usage. So cryptography protects sensitive patient data in electronic health record or EHRs. For example, hospitals use encryptions to comply with the regulation like HIPAA as one of the most important standard and regulation in healthcare. So also in the medical devices, devices like insulin pumps and pacemakers use cryptography to secure remote updates and prevent tampering. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Please support us with subscribe, share it with your friends and like it. And please put your comments in below this video to help us to improve ourselves. Thank you very much.